Hello and welcome. Today we're taking a look at the new Chantecaille holiday collection. So we have 3 duos or duet eyeshadows, and we also have 2 of the lip crystals. So we're going to do a whole bunch of swatches. Let's start off with the eyeshadow swatches. We're going to start off with this palette here. This is the Jasmine Eye Duet. So these are going to be your browns. In each of the duets we have a shimmer and a matte. Packaging, you can see it is kind of small. Look, the height of the lip crystal is actually a little bit taller here. And we do have kind of significant width here. That is, in my opinion, dead space. It's just kind of holding this, this mirror. This is kind of all empty space once you close it. So just something to note there. We do have a mirror finish, a mirror in here. There are no applicators that it comes with. So here's our first shimmer. You can see that this is going to be a warm golden brown. And then our matte shade here is going to be a warm brown. This one's a little bit, it's a little bit more neutral actually. So the base for the shimmer is slightly warmer than the base in the matte. But when you build up that shimmer, it does look a little bit more neutral than it does if you were to kind of buff that out. Let me just show you that buffed out there. So you can see how that turns a little bit warmer once you really kind of shear that out. And this is our next one. This is the Cassis Eye Duet. And we have this shimmer. It's actually going to be a bit more of, let's leave a little space here. This is going to be more of like a rose gold shimmer. But a lot of times we see these rose gold shimmers and you can really see a lot of pink in there. I would say this is actually more bronzy. It's instead of a rose gold, I'd say it's more of a rose bronze. And then our matte shade here is going to be a rich burgundy. There is a little bit of a cooler tone purple hue in there, and you'll see that evidence in the swatches when we get to those. So our third one, which is my favorite, this is the Silver Willow Eye Duet. And here we have a nice silvery taupe shade for our shimmer. I love that shade. And then our matte is essentially a powder version of it. It's going to be more gray though. It's not really a taupe. It's more of a soft gray with just a little tiny bit of brown in there, but definitely more gray. So these are the 3 duets. We have Jasmine, Cassis, and Silver Willow. Let's take a look at the eye swatches and the demos. All of the items in the Gilded Garden collection are limited edition, and as I mentioned, we do have 3 eye duets. They retail for $65 US each. We have a 2-year shelf life. They're made in Italy, and in the Cassis and Jasmine duets, we have 2.5 grams of product. The Silver Willow has 2 grams. Now, that does not mean that they have different amounts of shadow. They all have the same volume, the same amount of product, but the pigments that are used in the Jasmine and Cassis are going to be just a little bit heavier, creating a little bit more mass there. So you're not getting less product in there. Really, the only reason to share the mass information is to get a general sense of how much product there will be based off of, how much eyeshadows typically weigh. But we are going to have variances with different shades. All of the shadows here go on very easily, very smoothly. Our mattes are going to be more of your traditional powdery matte with a little bit of a gel texture to it. So it keeps it very smooth, but still very easy to blend out. The shimmers are smooth. There's a little bit of creaminess to them, which helps them kind of adhere and kind of stay put together without having too much fallout. There can be a little bit of fallout when using these, which is true for pretty much any shimmer. So just something to note there. But I think that the formulas here, they're very nice formulas. They're really beautiful duos. I was hoping that these would be similar to the Chrome Luxe duos that we've seen from Chantecaille in the past. They are different. Obviously, we don't have 2 metallic shades, so that's going to make it different. But the formulas are going to be different for the shimmers as well. Overall, I think these are really nice duo eyeshadows. I like the color combinations here. They're going to be very classic and traditional, but one of my favorite features of the Chrome Luxe duos is actually mixing shades that are not really of that monochromatic look. Here we essentially have a monochromatic look with each duet, and it makes it really easy, to use you don't have to think about it, but they are going to be really nice, just kind of classic everyday shades. However, I think this was an opportunity where they could have mixed and matched some of the shades like they used to do with the Chrome Luxe duos, where we would have things like perhaps a silver and a green, or a purple and a green, or a purple and a blue. You know, they had different shades. So I really do like these. I think these are very nice shadows, particularly the Silver Willow, which is going to be my favorite of the three. I think the formula on these is very nice, but I do think that they could have gone slightly more exciting than they did. Now, just a little note from Chantecaille, these are all free of fragrances, sulfates, phthalates, mineral oil, petrolatum, palm oil, GMOs, and gluten. And I do think it's really great that these are free of fragrances. I think it's pretty hard in the luxury beauty area to find shadows that are truly free of fragrances. So that definitely is a plus in my book. Now for today's eye look, I wanted to blend the Silver Willow, which is pretty cool, with the Jasmine, which is going to be pretty warm, and just kind of mix my warmer and cooler shades to blend it to be a little bit more neutral. And I really do like the way that that came out. I think these shades all mix and match very nicely. And I also wanted to test out the Cassis palette as blush. So that was actually the reason that I purchased this palette. That was the one that least appealed to me for an eye look for my particular coloring, as sometimes those shades can end up looking a little like red eye on me. So I really wanted to try this out as blush. So I dusted my brush with powder first. I tapped off all of the excess, and then I put that in the matte pigment so that way, you know, I have a little bit more even distribution of that, and I tapped off any excess of the eyeshadow before applying it to my cheek. Now, I have to say, it goes on very beautifully. I do like it, but this shade, if you build it up too much, can look a little bit too much like a bruise, because we do have a little bit of that blue undertone in there. So depending on how you apply it, it could either be a really beautiful, soft mulberry sweep of color, or if you put on a little bit too much, it can look a little bit more like a bruise. So definitely something to be careful with, but I do like it as a blush, and I think it goes on very smoothly. Let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons for the eyeshadows before we move on to the lip crystals. We're going to take a look at a lot of the Chantecaille shades, but first, the very first shade that popped in my mind when I saw the Silver Willow Duet was this one here from YSL. This is one of my all-time favorite taupe eyeshadows. This is 28, and it's called Unconforming Taupe. And I wanted to see how this compares to the shimmer shade in the Silver Willow. And you can see they are going to be different. The one in the Chantecaille is going to be a little bit warmer. We definitely have kind of a little bit of a warmer taupe base with more of a silver overtone for the Chantecaille. It's a bit more subtle, whereas the YSL is going to be more metallic. And you can see we have a little bit more of a bluish hue to that silver. So there is going to be a difference there. But if you have a chance to pick this up, you know, it was a limited edition shade. You can still find it around periodically at different places, but definitely a fantastic shade. So smooth and creamy, easy to use. It's one of my go-tos. So we're just going to take a look at some more eyeshadows from some other brands before we move on to the Chantecaille ones. This is Jones Road in So Pretty. And this is going to be another silvery shade here, but you can see this is going to be a lighter, brighter silver. Then we have the Dior in 755. This is the Rose Tool Metallic. And I wanted to see how this compared to the Cassis Duo, but you can see that this from Dior is truly more of a pink rose gold, whereas we really have more of a bronzy shade with just a subtle hint of pink from the Chantecaille. So I'd say it's pretty different. Then we have Beige Mitza 658 from Dior. And we're going to put this one up here, but it's going to be a bit lighter than the Jasmine Duet. So you can see it's definitely a little bit lighter. We actually have a little bit more pink in the Beige Mitza, and there's a little bit of a silvery overtone with the shimmer in there. Let's take a look at the Chantecaille Chrome Luxe Duos. These are an older product from Chantecaille. This is the only one I have that comes close to any of the shades here. So this is the shade, this is the palette Tibet. We're going to put this first shade here, which is going to be a brownish shade, but you can see it's got have more of, it's like a neutral brown base with more of a silvery overtone. The other shade here is going to be more of a silver, but you can see it's much lighter, more sheer. Now, formula-wise, these are more of a metallic formula versus a shimmer. And the difference here is that the shimmer particles are much more finely milled and kind of very smooth in there, so you don't feel any particles. The Chantecaille Duets, those shimmers are very smooth, but you can see, particularly with the Cassis shimmer, you can see the actual glitter particles. They're a little bit larger particles. I also wanted to take a look at the most recent release from Chantecaille. This is the Cheetah Trio. And again, I did have a broken shimmer shade here. So I'm just going to get a little bit of this, but we're going to put this one right up here so we can kind of see how that compares. It's going to be much lighter and softer than those in Jasmine. Again, we have a little bit more of a rosy hue. It's actually got a little bit more pink than the Beige Mitza, but it's closer to Dior Beige Mitza than it is to the Jasmine Duo. And then we have this soft matte. Let's go ahead, we'll put that one right there. So this is the matte from the Cheetah Trio, and you can see it's gonna be a little bit cooler. It's almost a mix of Jasmine and Silver Willow mattes. And then the third shade is not gonna be like that, so we're gonna skip that one. Then we have the rose gold eyeshadow. This is called Gold Leaf. This came out last year for holiday from Chantecaille. And this has some serious bling, but you can see this is more of a true rose gold. We have more of a sheer shiny gold with a lot more of that pink reflex. So it's gonna be very different from this year's offering. So let's take a look at some of the luminescent eye shades. This one here is Lion, and this is more of a gold. We're going to put this one right here in between the Jasmine and the Cassis. And you can see that the golden hue, it's a little bit more, there's a little more orange in it than the bronzy hue we have in the Cassis. But it's definitely more yellow and golden than that in Jasmine. This one here is Giraffe. This one is going to be more of a nice rich brown. Let's go ahead and put that one right next to it. And you can see this is going to be a cooler tone brown, much deeper. Then we have the shade Roan. And Roan, we're going to put this one, let's put this one right here. You can see that Roan is more of a subdued pinker version of the shade in Cassis, but it really doesn't match any of these. We have Zebra, which is the rose gold shade in the luminescence. I'm going to put this one over here because it really doesn't match either, but I just wanted to show you how different that is. This is definitely going to be more of a peachy pink with some golden hues to it. And then let's take a look at the Pangolin shade. This is described as a dusty lilac. And we'll put this one right down here. You can see how much more purple that is. And then this is the Crane, which is more of your reddish purple, which actually I think goes very well with the matte shade from the Cassis because it brings out some of those purple tones in there. It doesn't look as pink. So I actually really like this duo together. Personally, I prefer this combination compared to the shimmer that comes in the Cassis duo. But if you prefer warmer tones, this will really balance out that burgundy from the Cassis. And then this one here is Elephant, which is my favorite of the luminescent eye shades. And you can see it's going to be a bit deeper, not quite as silvery as that in the Silver Willow, but you do still have a similar vibe. And then I wanted to also take a look at Rhino, which is described as an olive, but I always think it has just a touch of olive. It really seems more of a deep charcoal gray to me. So I would say Elephant is probably your closest to the Silver Willow, but it's going to be a lot deeper than that. So again, we have the Jasmine Duet, the Cassis Duet, and the Silver Willow. So I hope these were helpful, but I do think that the shades in the Duets are different enough from those in Chantecaille's other eyeshadow offerings. Now, as for how the shimmers in the Duets compare to the shimmers in the luminescent eye shades, I would say that they're a little bit more, a little smoother, a little bit more finely milled than those in the luminescent eye shades. They're also going to be a little bit less luminescent. They don't have quite as much sparkle in there. So Just something to know, a minor difference, I would say, between the 3 different formulas from Chantecaille, the 3 major formulas we looked at. The Chrome Luxe Duos are going to be your smoother, more metallic finish. These Duets are kind of in the middle between the Chrome Luxe Duos and the luminescent eye shades in terms of how they feel, but they are going to be the most subtle in terms of the amount of shimmer. Next, let's take a look at the lip crystals. So they both have this packaging here. We have our Gilded garden motif down on the bottom. The lid has our C for Chantecaille, and we have 2 shades. We have Pink Topaz and Aventurine. So let's take a look at these, and we do have the magnetic closure. I mean, look at, I love the lip crystals because you get very, very impactful glitter, but yet they don't feel gritty on the lips. They're very comfortable to wear. So I would have to say, out of all the glittery lipsticks I've tried, the Chantecaille lip crystals are my favorite formula. So let's go ahead and we're going to swatch Pink Topaz right here. And look at that. It's really kind of a soft peachy pink. And you have the shimmer in here. We have a little bit of gold, but we also have silver. So it's pretty neutral. And I think this is just a really beautiful everyday shade with glitter. So, you know, without the glitter, it's just a really beautiful, like peachy pink nude. And then with the glitter, it becomes really impactful. The more you build it up, the more metallic it looks. But even with several layers, you really don't feel grittiness on your lips, which I think is great. The Aventurine here is what I have on now. And you can see this is going to be a cooler tone, more of a soft fuchsia pink. You can see that we definitely have a bit of blue in that base. And we're going to take a look at the lip swatches real quickly, but I wanted to take a look at the shade Rubellite, which this has been out previously in the past in, like, I believe this is the one that came out last year. You can see there is a difference. It's going to be much brighter, more red in there. And this has been my favorite shade in the lip crystals up till now. And I have to say, when I first saw, let's look at the lip swatches, but when I first saw the pictures of these, they did remind me of when the lip crystals originally came out. They had 3 shades. They had a nude shade that reminded me a lot of the Pink Topaz. And then the Rubellite really made me think of the Aventurine. So I thought they might be the same shades, but just with new names. They are not, so I'm very happy to see that they are different. Unfortunately, I don't have those originals anymore. They were from many years ago, but I really like the new ones. And I can tell after seeing this in person, the original like lighter nude shade was definitely much warmer than this one. It didn't have the pinkiness kind of mixed in with the shade there. So it's definitely going to be a bit different. And then this new Aventurine shade is going to have a little bit more of a purpley hue mixed into that pink base, and it's going to be lighter and softer than the Rubellite. So I think it's a really beautiful shade. I actually really like both of these shades. The lip crystals retail for $54 US. We have an 18-month shelf life. They're made in Italy, and we have 4 grams of product, which is the same amount of product that we had in the originals when they came out back in the day. So just something to note there, but these are described as a dazzling pearl-infused shimmer lipstick that delivers smooth, comfortable color with maximum metallic shine. Now, I do want to note that it says it's free of fragrances, silicone sulfates, phthalates, mineral oil, petrolatum, palm oil, GMOs, gluten, and they're vegan. But there is in the ingredients, there is going to be ethyl vanillin. So that is your synthetic vanilla fragrance. I don't see any other reason they'd have that in there except as a fragrance. You can smell vanilla in there just like you can with the Chantecaille Lip Chic. So they're going to have the same scent. So it's possible the free of fragrances is just a typo on the website, but I do want to make that note for anybody who was looking for something fragrance free. In my opinion, I would not categorize these as fragrance free because of that vanilla scent. Now, I do want to note that if you really like the look of a lip crystal, but you know you're not really going to wear something built up and as shimmery as these can be, these were great, just kind of dabbed lightly onto a regular lipstick to add a little bit of shimmer. Let me go ahead. I'm going to remove this and show you that. So in this demo, I put on the Desert Lily Lip Veil from the Cheetah collection, and I just dabbed a little bit of the Pink Topaz on top, and you get that really nice subtle glitter shimmer without, you know, usually to add some of that glitter, you usually add like a gloss, but if you don't want that glossy texture on top, this is a great way to add that shimmer, and it's smooth. And that's what I really like about these. So you can definitely go more subtly with these, or you can build it up for more impact. And I find these to be very versatile. Lip crystals are one of my favorite things from Chantecaille. My mistakes. Last year's lip crystal was not rubellite, it was rose quartz. So I have that one here. And let's go ahead. We're going to put this one right here in between the pink topaz and the aventurine. So pink topaz, rose quartz, aventurine. You can see it's sort of in between those two shades. It's a warmer pink, more of a rose gold pink shade. And then the other one that I have from years past is rubellite. I mean carnelian. So this one here is carnelian. And this is going to be a red shade there. So these are all of my lip crystals. So we have pink topaz, rose quartz, aventurine, rubellite, and carnelian. So I hope that was helpful. In summation, I really like the Chantecaille holiday collection. So we've got jasmine here, cassis, silver willow. And out of these three duets, the silver willow is my favorite, followed by jasmine and then cassis. Now, I think that these are really nice, but Chantecaille, in my opinion, I think it would have been nice to have a little bit more wow or pizzazz with the holiday collection. I'm really glad to see more of that chic golden packaging here that, you know, we've seen in the past from Chantecaille. I do really like the packaging here. However, you know, I think it would have been nice to, if not bringing back the Chrome Luxe duos, kind of bring back the spirit of them with mixing and matching some of the shades and having just something a little bit different. So that would have been my preference. However, even stating that, I do really think these are great for every day. I just feel like, you know, with holiday, that's a time to be a little bit different and more unique and not necessarily just get your updated classics. So I think these are very nice. They're beautiful for every day, but they could have been a little bit more than they are. That being said, I do really like them and I don't regret purchasing any of them. As for the lip crystals, I'm really glad I picked these up. I was worried that they were going to be duplicates of previous shades, but they are not. And I really like these. I think they are beautiful shades here. And so we have the pink topaz and the aventurine. Honestly, the pink topaz is probably one I will use the most because it is lighter. It's something I can very easily add a little bit of shimmer to with a regular everyday lipstick. But my favorite is actually the aventurine because I just feel like this shade in particular is a little bit, it's more special to me. So I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to know your thoughts on the holiday collection and please share them down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you very soon. Have a great day.